Committee to resolve once and for all long-standing GMPC drill ship sale saga.
An important constitutional matter has been raised, which matter, if it is so, would prohibit our respected colleague from holding office. Mr. Chairman, I would want to suggest strongly that this committee knocks on the door of Yoko to let us know whether they pursued this matter and brought it to a conclusion.
We are live in Parliament, where the President's latest ministerial nominees are being grilled, with the NDC minority members already determined to vote against their confirmation.
The minority will not subscribe to a consensus vote at the level of the appointment committee. This will ensure that the matter is brought to the full House for a vote to be taken in secret. And I can assure you that we in the NDC stand united with our number of 136 for this expedition.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. There is grave concern tonight from the majority leadership in Parliament that Katie Hammond, the Trade Minister designate, may be disqualified from holding office. Both the majority leader, Osechi Mensah, and his deputy, Alex Afenyo-Markin, have today sounded the alarm and have attempted to get the Appointments Committee to resolve what they believe to be a key constitutional matter once and for all. The controversy revolves around Katie Hammond's involvement in the controversial sale of a GMPC drill ship as Deputy Energy Minister under the Kufuor administration. A commission of inquiry had questioned how Mr. Hammond disbursed some $900,000 after he sold the drill ship. The matter was put to him by the Minority Chief Whip Kwame Agboja when he appeared before Parliament's Appointments Committee.
Basis of Honorable Katie Hammond's disbursement of $900,000 to the law firm Constant to cater for future debt of GMPC to other operations. Are you aware of that? Were you queried as to whether the $900,000, which mandate you had to expend that money?
No, I was not queried about that. Mr. Chairman, you see, the difficulty about, it's no reflection of my colleagues. You guys should be a little careful. Mr. Chairman, when a report like this is presented to the government comments on the back of the report and not to make its own findings. That part over there was an addition by the government, which had no reflection in the report presented by Mr. Justice Apawu.
Actually, I'm reading from the report. I'm not reading from the white paper.
You are reading from where? It's not even true. He's not reading from the report. He's reading from the white paper. Well, that's
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Look at them.
Mr. Chairman. No. Chairman, may I go on?
No, you can't go on. You can't go on, Mr.
Honorable nominee.
Please.
I'm completing
it. I've asked him to go on. Please.
Which company purchased the drill ship? And do you have any relationship with the company that bought the drill ship?
Mr. Chairman, I saw that whole argumentation because 20 years I've lived with this. I know every bit about it without going back and forth. This matter has been before the sole commissioner.
Sorry, that's the question.
Yes.
Do you have any relationship with the company that bought the drill ship?
No, Mr. Speaker, no.
Let me take you live to Parliament now and speak to my parliamentary correspondent, Kweku Asante. Kweku, I understand that the majority leadership were left very concerned by this. In fact, the deputy majority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who himself is a lawyer, was concerned the issue could have grave consequences for the nominee.
Yes, Evans. Just before the minority leader, Dr. Keselatu Fortin, would begin his questioning of the nominee, Afenyo-Markin came in forcefully trying to do a re-examination of a sort to put those questions to Katie Hammond. In his estimation, these were key constitutional issues that could affect the eligibility and the qualification of Katie Hammond to mount the office of trade.
Let's finish with
Mr. Chair, I thank you. I will not challenge you. I appreciate the opportunity given me then. Thank you so much. I have no further question to ask.
So the chairman of the committee, from what we just listened there, stopped the deputy majority leader from addressing the issue. But I understand the majority leader himself came back forcefully on the issue, determined to get some closure.
Indeed, Evans, it appeared the majority leadership wanted to clear up that matter. Our state chairman, who is the majority leader, came to the committee today. He did not speak throughout. But when the minority leader had done a series of questions, he came in with an intervention and said that he wanted to go back to that issue that Alexander Afenyomakin had tried to raise but was stopped by the chairman of the committee from asking. He read certain provisions of the constitution and said that if these matters are not cleared up, he was afraid that K.T. Hammond may be disqualified from holding public office.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's just for the avoidance of doubt question that I'm asking. Now, I think a very fundamental issue has been raised in respect of the qualification or otherwise of the nominee. And Article 94(2)(d) has indeed been cited. Also been brought into the picture is Article 280, the import of it. Now, an issue has been made about the content of the white paper following after the investigation as from the Commission of Inquiry. And the language is this, that Yoko should further pursue the matter, which suggests that the conclusion, as far as the white paper is concerned, was not conclusive. Mr. Chairman, which is what has been referred to, and just to quote again, government further directs Yoko to investigate the mandate, authority, and or basis of Honorable K.T. Hammond's disbursement of the 900,000 United States dollars to the law firm Constant & Constant to cater for future debts of GMPC to other creditors. Mr. Chairman, I would want to suggest strongly that this committee knocks on the door of Yoko to let us know whether they pursued this matter and brought it to a conclusion. It would be of interest to this committee to so establish, and that is what I'm urging the committee.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's a matter we can discuss. He's raised a concern, but I would suggest we discuss this matter before we take a decision on this in camera.
Kweku, why is the majority leader so concerned about this particular constitutional provision, Article 94(2)(b)?
Indeed, what the ex-constitution says, and let me quote, it says that a person shall not be qualified to be a member of parliament if he has been found by the report of a commission or a committee of inquiry to be incompetent to hold public office, or is a person in respect of whom a commission or committee of inquiry has found that while being a public officer, he acquired assets unlawfully or defrauded the state or misused or abused his office or willfully acted in a manner prejudicial to the interests of the state. And the findings have not been set aside on appeal or judicial review. Mm-hmm. The majority leader and his deputy were all concerned that if this $900,000 that were paid to some lawyers were not cleared up, it could affect the qualification of K.T. Hammond for being a minister, and they wanted that cleared up.
And so that explains why they wanted to get Iyoko to bring closure to the issue. Did the committee take a decision on its request?
They did not do so immediately. Indeed, as you heard there from the minority leader, he wanted the discussion to be taken in camera. And so our understanding is that when the committee concludes hearings for today, they will sit on that specific matter and decide whether or not they are going to go to Yoko to give them further information or how they are going to approach this matter.
Kweku, thank you very much. I want to bring in a member of that appointments committee who raised the issue, has also written extensively about it. The MP for Tamale North, Ahasan Suhini, joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Suhini, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
My pleasure. And those facts concluded that the state was shortchanged.
But that is not entirely accurate, because that's why the white paper, because of the lack of a conclusive determination of guilt or otherwise, I believe, is the reason why the white paper then recommends that Iyoko takes over the matter and, quote, investigates the mandate, authority, and on basis of Honorable Katie Hammond's disbursement of the $900,000. If the government then were as convinced as you're putting it, they would have gone ahead and possibly acted on that report.
Evans, why don't we avert our mind to the constitutional provision in 94(2)(d)? The provision is clear that any finding in a committee or commission report that points to abuse, that points to misuse, that points to prejudicial engagement against the state, until those are set aside, one is not qualified to occupy a ministerial office. Clear? Now, is it true that this report found misuse, abuse, and conduct or acts that are prejudicial to the interest of the state or not?
But those are your words. But those are your words. You are interpreting the facts.
Are you suggesting, therefore, to your listeners, Ivan, that if an amount of, say, 900,000 Ghana dollars could not be accounted for in this transaction, it does not amount to a prejudicial, act against the state?
Let me quote you. The 900,000 cedis, I'm not sure the committee report said could not be accounted for. What he said was that, quote, the 900,000 cedis paid into an
$900,000.
Pardon me, was paid into an escrow account, I'm quoting, in London, supposed to cater for the future debts of GMPC to other creditors. So that was very purpose for which that $900,000 was disbursed.
No.
I'm quoting. I have the report before me. I'm just quoting this verbatim from that document.
That's not the only relevant portion as far as the $900,000 is concerned. I just stepped out of the vetting committee and did not pick the report. But it is clear that it is because it is unaccounted for, that is why Iyoko is directed to look into it.
No, but pay attention to the direction of the Mills government then. It wasn't about to account for the money. It was about mandate, authority, and basis. Not about so it was clear that they knew what the money was for. It's about whether they had the mandate, whether they had the authority.
So that is your interpretation you are putting on it.
Again, let me quote.
You are putting your interpretation on it.
Again, if you don't mind, let me quote exactly what the report said. And this is the white paper. Quote, government further directs Iyoko to investigate the mandate, authority, and or basis of Honorable Katie Hammond's disbursement of the $900,000 to the law firm Constant to cater for future debts of GMPC to other creditors. This is a direct quote.
Right. The question I'm asking is, did the commission say that this transaction was above board, or did it conclude that there were issues of misuse and abuse of public office?
I don't see that. I didn't see that directly in the report.
Then why will the commission or the government in its white paper recommend that some more investigation be done on the mandate and all of that? If nothing was wrong, why is there a need to do more investigation?
Let me ask you then, if you don't mind, because of time then. Do you then support Chairman Bawku seem to agree, in essence, that some closure needs to be brought to this? Because you obviously have questions. Do you support his call before the committee today that Iyoko be brought in before you to tell you, the committee members, what they did when they received this direction from the government then, to bring some closure to this?
Well, before I answer that, let me just refer you to point 6 on how the $3.5 million was utilized. The commission made the following findings and observations. Point 6. No, before point 6, point 5. It says that point 456. So it says that $141,361.29 was transferred into a different account with the same bank. The utilization of the transferred money remains a mystery to date. $141,361.29, according to the Commission's report, remains a mystery to date. The utilization of that remains a mystery to date. That's 4. 5 says the 2 accounts were closed in December 2005. And then 6 says there was no justification for paying the amount of $3.5 million into a new account because as the proceeds were from the sale of a GMCC asset, it belonged to the GMCC and should have been paid into the GMCC account. Now, these are the facts, as established by the Commission, stipulated under 4, 5, and 6. Now, it also says, in part, I think that is 1. It also says in part, for example, that the GMP, even the authority that Katie Hammond had, was as a result of coercive power of the state to get the managing director to give that, and that is abuse of office, even. If it is established by the commission that the managing director was coerced to give his authority to Katie Hammond to sell a property of GMP, that is abuse of office. And I am saying to you that clearly the Constitution talks about, a finding that establishes this. Not until it is set aside. The one it establishes that again cannot hold office. Okay. And that, respectfully, is our position on this matter. Okay, and I think it is the reason why the majority leader and the deputy majority leader, who is a seasoned lawyer, they are concerned. It's the reason why they are concerned.
Do you support Mensah Bawku's call for Yoko to get involved and bring some clarity to this before the committee?
Absolutely. I mean, even when the nominee was asked if he has been to Yoko, if Yoko has followed up on this matter, he says he couldn't remember. But this was just around 2015. And I do know, Evans, and if you do a little check, you realize that because Honorable Katie Hammond knows how grievous this matter was, he actually challenged this in court using Egbert Fable as his lawyer in 2015, 2016 to set it aside. What has become of that case? That is what he should be interested in. Okay. So it is not just about, trying to find fault where there is none. It's about holding ourselves up to the rules and constitutional provisions that we have passed all these years and we are expected to live up to.
Okay, so is the committee set to, because I didn't quite get closure on whether or not the chairman will agree for Yoko to come. Are you guys going to take a decision on this in camera?
I'm sure that at the decision-making point, all the issues that have to be further probed will be discussed, and the direction will be given by the committee.
Okay. Hassan Suhuyini, thank you very much for your time here on Top Story. And that's MP for Tamale North, Hassan Suhuyini there. Ahead of the vetting of the minister-designate, the NDC minority addressed the press, declaring they will vote against all the nominees in fulfillment of a directive issued by party executives. Listen to Minority Leader Dr. Kaisela Tofolse.
In the circumstances, while the insensitive government is refusing to act responsibly to contain the looming economic disaster, we in the minority will fully discharge our duties to the people of Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a couple of weeks ago, the President